Introducing the pound-for-pound best radio show around the world, it's Leave It in the Ring.
But the real fight fans, I'm talking about if you're tuning in and listening to Leave It in the Ring right now, you're a real fight fan, okay? Because this is what hardcore fight fans do. We all want to talk about boxing consistently. It's a 24-hour thing. It's not a sport to us. It's a lifestyle. I believe we got George Peterson and Paul Williams on the line. Are you guys there? So the Sergio Martinez, the rematch, is that something that you're relieved of getting? Did you think you were going to get that fight? Do you think you were going to be able to get back in there and get it with I mean, that was a tough fight for you, man.
Oh, yeah, we definitely knew that fight was going to happen again because the fans wanted to see it, HBO wanted to see it, and when nobody else out there, who you can fight? You know, who can you fight? You know, after a fight like that, who else can you fight?
Paul, let me ask you this, and then I'm going to pass it to one of my co-hosts, and I got to hear your side of this. Okay, you're at the Home Depot Center. All of a sudden, you see this dude jump out like he had 12 cases of Red Bull. What was going through your mind, man? For both of you guys, for Mr. Peterson and yourself, what was going through your guys' mind when you see him just kind of leap through those ropes?
You know, like our game plan was, you know what I'm saying, this fight right here, we was going to take our time and let me get in my rhythm, because we know Centon was going to try to counterpunch us, you know, because they see me, like, when I fight, I come straight to guys and just mix it up. So this time we mixed them up, and then I started getting in my rhythm, and Peterson told me, now let's start picking it up. And we landed a couple of big left hands, he landed a right hand hook, and we came back, and then I know he pulled my head down, I fall, he jumped out the ring. I mean, it's crazy.
I'm curious, guys, you know, Paul, you had a tough little row here these last few years. You've had some pretty tough fights, and you've taken a long break here. How's the rest been for you? Have you been out of the gym, or you've been training, or have you used this time to kind of heal your body up and kind of replenish yourself?
Oh, we always replenishing ourselves. I mean, like, even though we ain't boxing in the ring, we always doing something, so it don't matter. When it's time to fight, it's time to fight. If you ever seen any of my fights, and I have took off layoffs and all that, when I get back in the ring, we don't lose a step.
I'm curious. This is a question mainly for George. For a while there, you guys had decided you wanted to go back to 147 and try for that Mayweather fight. And George, you seemed very convinced that you guys could get it. Was there any specific reason that you felt like you could get it, or was it something that maybe the promoter said that he thought was possible, or were you just getting tired of moving around in weight classes and going, you know, somebody please fight us? What was the deal there?
You know, they know that we're here. They know that we can make 147 to 160. They all know that. The whole world knows that. And anybody in disbelief, all they have to do is say, okay, let's do 47. There's absolutely no problem with that. You know, these guys, they're supposed to be their livelihood. Well, okay. And they're looking for the big money fights. Well, okay. Well, how many of them are out there? They got to include Paul Williams. They got to. I don't know why they keep leapfrogging this young man, but that's what he's doing.
But what about the Al Heyman connection? I mean, are you guys even able to fight each other like Berto and Williams and Paul?
It has absolutely nothing to do with signing a contract and saying that we're going to fight. Nothing at all. That's something that the media grab a hold of because of, well, that's something that the media grab a hold of and they want to use that for an excuse. Any excuse is better than none. So that's just an excuse.
Peterson, Mr. Peterson, how is that an excuse if we're not seeing Paul? I mean, you got one of the best fighters on your hands right now, and he's not getting a shot at Floyd Mayweather or even getting a shot at Andre Berto.
But you cannot make Floyd Mayweather fight this guy, and you cannot make Berto fight this guy. You can't make those guys fight him if they won't. Money doesn't matter. And I know you can see that. You can see where Mayweather turned down Pacquiao. And then you're talking about $40 million. So if the man was looking for money, that would be the indication that, hey, that he would fight. But it's not about money, if you can understand. It's about this man's fame and fortune. That's what it's about. So it's not about that.
You guys are based in D.C. You guys have a nice little following in D.C. I mean, people adore P. Will out there. Does it kind of disappoint you? Because I know that D.C. was a venue that was being talked about as far as this fight is concerned, or as far as any Paul Williams fight is concerned. Are you a little disappointed that it's not in Washington, D.C., that The fans of Paul do not get a chance to see him in probably the biggest fight of his career so far?
I think in time that would happen. Like it took a while for us to get over the East Coast. You know, it took some doing, and it's going to take some doing to get to Washington, D.C. and possibly Atlanta. You know, you just don't do this overnight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Paul, I mean, is your desire to fight, you know, in your home base, you know, growing? Do you tell Dan these types of things?
Hey, it don't matter what I'm fighting. As long as they got a live body in front of me and the money right, I'm there. Don't make me none.
Yeah, but doesn't the money kind of flow with the popularity that you get? If you're fighting out here on the West Coast and you're not drawing huge crowds, isn't it kind of better for you to go back to your home base where they are more familiar with you?
Yeah, I would love to, but I leave that up to Mr. Peterson and the promoters and stuff.
Well, I guess the question is this, and for Mr. Peterson, you know, Paul, you were really active for a long time in there. You know, 2008 you fought 4 times. In 2009 you fought twice, and then you've only fought once in 2010. You know, now you got to fight again. I guess the question is, I mean, I know you guys do very well, you know, fighting on HBO. I mean, you've earned that spot, and you fought nothing but tough fights, you know. And you're a guy. You remind me a lot of Shane Mosley in that it doesn't matter to you who you fight. You just want to get it on, and you'll take on a tough matchup, you know, to get that done. But are you guys concerned that you're not fighting enough, that you're not fighting active enough? Because to me, the only way to get a Mayweather or a Pacquiao is to become, like, you know, build to a point where you're a draw, build to a point where you're a pay-per-view guy. I mean, if it was just on merit, if boxing worked that way, of course you deserve the big fights. But from an economic standpoint, you guys haven't built to that point. Do you feel an onus to start fighting more often, even if it's an off-TV fight and you start to build yourself a venue, sort of like Tomasz Adamek has done?
Fernando Guerrero?
Well, the same thing happened to Marvin Hagler. If you're old enough to remember Marvin Hagler, you got no Marvin. Are you old enough to remember him?
Oh, yeah.
37, absolutely.
Same thing happened to him. You know, you take guys that feel and got decent skills such as Paul Williams, then you can make that association. It's the same thing. It's no different.
Hey, Paul, when you look back at that fight with Sergio Martinez and you were coming on and then he caught you and you got hurt and you were able to hurt him back, it was a back-and-forth war. When you went back and looked at the tape, what do you feel that you made a mistake at? I mean, do you feel that you need to make adjustments, or do you go back and kind of continue where you left off?
Just 3 weeks of training. You know, if everybody that remembers stuff, I was training to fight Pavlik, and we had nothing but right-hand guys in there, guys that's coming straight forward. Then, like 2.5, 3 weeks, he pulls out, and they throw Martinez in there. He was training already for me and stuff, so it's like, our game plan, we didn't have no sparring partners, no left-handed sparring partners. All our sparring partners was right-handed guys. We were trying to turn over to left-handed guys to imitate a guy that can be moving and all that. And we couldn't get that in 3 weeks. So Mr. Peterson told me, man, let's go out there and let's fight this joke. It was a straight fight, no boxing, just straight fighting. And I could have been moving my head. I wasn't moving my head and stuff, so I just wanted to fight, you know. They made it a good fight for the fans. Now we got a rematch coming up. Now I got 3 months to train, so we'll see how that goes.
Now, so that already being said, and you know, and I remember that clearly because we had you on, and I did ask you that question. Does it kind of mess you up of you're training for a particular style, now just throwing in a completely different style? Now that you're getting that 3 weeks of training, is there do you want to make a statement? Being that, hey, listen, this was kind of an off for me because I didn't have the proper training to get with him at the moment, so I need to make a statement to show everybody that was my off night. This is my on night.
I'm not trying to make a statement. I'm going to go out there and make a statement regardless. Every time I get in the ring, I'm going to make a statement, whether it was a bad night or a good night. You know, you can't take nothing from Martinez. He was a champion and stuff. He came out to fight. It is that I didn't have the proper guys in front of me, you know what I'm saying, to show me the looks that I needed to see that night. You know, I was in there with guys that was straightly right-handed guys that's coming straight forward, so I had to switch my style up, and then Ms. P said, we ain't got enough time to switch my style up. You're just going to have to fight this guy. Just stay on and make him fight. And that's what we did. So, you know, making a statement, I don't care about making a statement. I just want to go out there and get a W the best way I can.
Hey, Paul, this is Ernie again. Hey, when you got dropped by Sergio, This is the first time you've ever been dropped, and actually, I think it's the first time maybe I've ever seen you really hurt. What went through your head? I mean, you were probably sitting there going, "Oh my God, I'm on the canvas." I mean, what went through your head at that time?
Get up and let's get up off the mat and let's get it going. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got dropped in the gym. I got dropped in the gym the same way. I mean, I done got dropped plenty of times in the gym. You know, you get up and you work through it. You know, and they said by me being hurt, if I was hurt, he would have jumped all over me and got me out of there. If I was hurt, you didn't see me wobbling after I got up. I wasn't wobbling. I wasn't running from him. I came in and slid in the pocket and fought with him. So I don't say I was hurt. It is that he caught me with a shot that I didn't see. I mean, that's in boxing. You know, you get caught, you get up and you keep going.
One of the things I always kind of disagreed in the way that Paul's been promoted is the multiple weight classes. Now why I agree that he's able to do it, it almost gives everybody an excuse. Like at 147, they go, well, he can fight at 160. Dude's a middleweight. Why would I want to fight him? And it kind of plays against you guys in a sense. And
yeah, it kind of shot you guys in the foot.
Let me tell you what is happening, what you lost. You got lost in this. The sanctioned body says, okay, if you fighting at 160, regardless on how tall you are, and regardless on how round you are, then the weight is 160. The sanctioned body also applies to 154, and it applies to 147. So this crap about fighting 47, fighting 54, fighting 60, no, that doesn't matter. If you can make the weight stipulation, then you make the weight. That's it.
George, we understand that, but what we're saying is that it's giving fighters and management and promotional groups that have an excuse of saying, well, you know, Paul Williams should be at 168. You know what I mean?
And then the fighters, they need to be Girl Scout teammates.
What was that, Paul?
We don't want to hear that. Paul will fight anybody. Anybody, and you know it.
I believe so. I believe it. I believe it. Hey, Paul, can I patch in some fight fans that want to ask some questions to you, brother? Is that okay?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, we got about 10 minutes left because we got another interview.
Okay, we'll make this quick. So, Jack, go ahead and ask your question really quick, brother.
All right, before I ask my question, I just want to say props to Gabe Montoya for writing the first most definitive article on the Margarito scandal before anybody did. Gabe, you deserve props for that, for being the only journalist that really covered that story right.
Okay, come on. Let's get the question. Come on.
All right.
Hey, he's complimenting me. Don't make him stop.
It's funny. Look, it's funny to listen. It's funny to listen to Paul and his manager, or whoever that is, talking about how they'll fight anybody. Yet this fight is taking forever to sign, and that Paul's only going to fight for the big money fights. Yet the fight with Cintron, where he was losing every round. I hope you're hearing me, Paul, because you did lose every round before Cintron got injured. Only people take it, and then now you're expecting people to call to sell out an 8,000 seat. Bye.
What was the question? What was the question? Well, you know,
I'll be honest. I had Cintron winning that fight. You know, I only gave him a 6.5 on the dive though because the landing was terrible.
Hey, but you had him winning the Margarito fight too.
No, actually, I picked you guys to win the Margarito fight, and I scored the Margarito fight for you. I was one of the few guys on press row that did that. I was probably the only guy that picked you guys to win that fight too.
Oh, come on, Gabriel. Come on, brother. Come on.
I'll show you the articles. Yeah. I picked you guys to beat Margarito, and I scored the fight for you. I took a lot of crap from Steve and Doug at ringside for you guys. I picked you guys to win.
We will win you over one day.
You guys won me over. You guys won me over at the word go. I've been a supporter of you guys for a long time. I've covered you probably more than most writers have. I picked you to beat Margarito. I did not have you win in the Cintron fight. I'm sorry.
Let's get to the next question. You didn't see Cintron jump out of that ring when the Heat stepped up on him?
Oh, I did, but I saw the first 3 rounds where he was winning the fight, and I saw the last part of the fight where he landed the more effective punches, and then he leaped out of the ring.
Hey, this guy realized that Paul, he had no defense for that left hand, those 3 left hands, jumped out of the ring. No defense. Revisit that, Gabriel, for me. Please do that.
What? I've seen it a bunch of times. I've scored it the same way every time. I'm sorry.